we disciple men, we want to get them into churches. And that's why we want you pastors here today to hear our heart. We don't have answers, but maybe we can be an extension. And we want to encourage you and honor you, but encourage you to really build men's ministries in your churches. That's what this is about. Not about CBMC, but to encourage you guys. Paul Binion, 36 years at Westside Church of God, one of Fresno's great leaders and a real enforcer, encourager of men's ministry. So put your hands together and welcome Dr. Paul Binion.
And it's interesting that over the years, not allowed to be said anymore at our place, but you know, people would say in our churches, now don't put your eyes on me, keep your eyes on Jesus. I said, no, we're looking at you. And why aren't you being more like Jesus? The significance in my own community, and when I speak now of the African American community, is that the lack of male leadership is related to every issue of negativity that we face. The case has been made not just by those of us who are in the body of Christ. The psychologists, sociologists, all the experts have related the issues that we face in our community with regard to the lack of male leadership and what some would call the scourge of fatherlessness has devastated our community and really has impacted the church. We find ourselves trying to deal with the devastation as people are coming in great numbers to the church, not because of my outstanding preaching, maybe because of our worship, but really they're coming looking for answers. Because life has devastated them because of the choices that they have made. And we find ourselves dealing with what I call on the back end. We're trying to help people pick up the pieces of their lives, which we know is also our calling. But how good it would be to work on the front end before the devastation is made in their lives, particularly with young men. But now young black folks are opting to kill themselves. 63% of those who are killing themselves, I'm told, there's no father in their lives. 90% of runaways, homeless young people, 90% of them, there's not a father. 85% of those with behavior disorders, 71% of those who drop out of high school, 75% of those who are in substance abuse programs, 85% of those in prison. In the African American community, the latest report I've received, 72% of African American babies are born to unwed mothers. And the men that we have coming in, we are now embracing, and oftentimes these are men well educated, men who are very professional men who are very successful in their secular endeavors, but spiritually and emotionally and relationally, they're absent. And we concluded that a man can't give what he doesn't have, and he can't share what he doesn't possess. And so let me wrap this up by saying that we've concluded at the Westside Church of God that we have to reach men by every means possible, whatever it takes. We have a small group ministry, which we don't often find prevalent in African American churches, but we find that we can reach men through small groups. We have different ministries. We have embraced now the Battle Zone ministry.
Great job, Dr. Binion. Jim Cecy, when he first came to Fresno, 1991, Jim, was it? I remember I had the privilege of being in a Bible study that he led with John Mosley and some other CBMC guys. That was my first connection with Jim and his great knowledge of the scriptures. And I've been to his purity seminars for 100 years. And this great book, we have really encouraged CBMC around the country and around the world to utilize. Your church could really benefit, your men would really benefit of having one of those accountability groups, one of those purity war seminars at your church. It is outstanding. Jim does a great, great job with it. So Jim, we appreciate you making this book available. 17 years over there at Campus Bible, so please welcome Dr. Jim Cecy.
Well, good morning, guys. Thank you so much for inviting me to share with you. I feel like really you guys have so much more that you could say. So I come to you not as an expert in anything, just a struggling pastor, 4 decades of doing this. But I got to tell you, I almost quit the ministry of the local church because I felt like I was failing. I wasn't failing in doing exposition. I wasn't failing in, spending 9 years in the book of Titus, those kinds of things. I wasn't failing in training my elders. I wasn't failing in program, and I was failing in equipping men according to Titus chapter 2. I was paying all the attention to chapter 1, verses 5 and following. I forgot chapter 2, verse 1, of teaching the older men. And the key word in the Greek text throughout that passage is sensibility. To teach them to be sensible. And if you look at the Greek text there, it just simply means how to do life practically. Because it's great to have a bunch of Bible knowledge and be able to parse Greek verbs and decline Hebrew nouns. And I understand that. And I want our people to outline the book of Obadiah. I want that. But they've heard me say it many times, the longest journey in the world is 18 inches from your head to your heart. What does that mean? It means that men need each other more today than they did yesterday, than they did 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, because I don't care what your theology is, whether you're amillennial, premillennial, panmillennial, it's all going to pan out in the end. The bottom line is this: He's coming again, and all the more we need one another, right? We need one another. And my men need each other because, our women's ministry, look, we just say women's ministry meeting and they all flock. We don't have to promote women's ministry. We don't have to beg. We don't have to cajole. You just, pour some tea and they're there, right? Decorate it and they come. I don't know about you, but we sometimes have to cajole, beg, bribe, do all that stuff to get men to do what they really need to be doing, and that's to stimulate one another to love and good deeds, all the more as we see the day drawing near. We got to come up on the hind end of some lazy men, some men who think that they're doing just fine because they showed up in church at least, once out of every 5 Sundays, and that they're doing just fine. And our job is to come along the back of them like a lazy old cow and stick a tack in their butts and get them moving. That's our job. All the more as we see the day drawing near. And that's why I'm grateful, because I can't do it alone. Oh yeah, we've got great men in action programs, and we got great things going on with our men's ministry, but as the saying goes, it ain't enough. It ain't enough. I thank God for CBMC. I commend them to you. There's some great programs, but even more than that, the connections that they will allow for your men to be able to meet with somebody of like mind, another banker, another manager, another store clerk. I mean, it's amazing what they do, and I'm just grateful to God. And I say that, and I want to just say this to the men who are leading this ministry: thank you. On behalf of Campus Bible Church, thank you on behalf of the men that I've been able to work with. I really thank you for your commitment to do this. Don't give up. Don't grow weary. And even we as local church guys tend to ignore what you're doing. It's still great and mighty work, and I thank God for you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.